What is up, everybody? My name is Logan, and I am on a mission to implement decentralized governance into the fabric of society. Can't stop, won't stop. Today, we are here to chat about the constitutional convention that me and Justin, who is joining me today, just got back from, and just talk about our catalyst proposals and everything going on with clarity. We have collected a bunch of questions in a recent governance action to chat through. So thank you to everyone who provided those questions. Justin, how's it going?
What's up, everyone? Doing well. Yeah, excited for another AMA today. Thank you for everybody who put in your questions. And as always, if you have any questions at the end of this, feel free to leave them in our next one, and we'd be happy to get to them.
Yep, I'll be keeping an eye on the chat. We are streaming live to my personal LinkedIn audience. So if you're there, hello. We're also streaming live to the Clarity YouTube audience. So hello if you're streaming there, and our X audience on the Clarity profile as well. So what we're going to do is we're just going to crack through these questions that we got from the community. If you have any live questions, feel free to post a comment. We'll be checking that out too. But the first question we got, it's not necessarily particularly tied to Project Catalyst or the Constitutional Convention, but it's more about in what year did you actively start getting interested and study blockchain and in particular Cardano? I guess I'll tell my story first, and then Shrine, you can hop in and talk about your take on it. So for me, I got interested in blockchain first, and I'd say specifically smart contracts. So I was in a science and technology public policy class at Stanford, and our final project, we could kind of write whatever we want as a policy proposal that we would try to show to some people in the government. And I had started hearing about smart contracts and Bitcoin and Ethereum and Cardano, and I was really interested in the ability for blockchain to cut out middlemen and provide self custody and provide self-sovereign identity and privacy while preserving transparency. So I actually wrote a report about how all health data in the United States should be anonymized and stored in a decentralized system so that AI agents and researchers would have massive data sets to comb over. And that's when I caught the blockchain bug. I always had an entrepreneurial spirit about me. I ended up after college playing professional soccer, but then retiring pretty early just to focus full time on the blockchain startup, which was about 3.5 years ago. And Justin joined me on that. But Justin, what's your journey into blockchain and in particular Cardano?
Yeah, so yeah, Logan basically approached me towards the end of 2020 about the idea of starting a startup that focused mainly on bringing smart contracts to the real world, bringing smart contracts to existing businesses, and kind of improving how they work. So uh, that is kind of what got me introduced to uh, the crypto ecosystem from kind of a developer perspective. So I studied computer science at university, so was interested in starting or joining, a quick moving technology startup. And this definitely fit the bill. So yeah, we spent kind of our first couple months, I'd say, just really exploring the blockchain ecosystem, understanding kind of where everything was at, where things were moving. Um, this was at the time that NFTs were going crazy, and transactions on Ethereum were costing people $800. So yeah, we looked at the ecosystem, saw DAOs moving strongly in Ethereum, and uh, we really just kind of fell in love with how Cardano was going about things, going a bit slower and uh, obviously more research driven. We saw the problems that kind of the first to market players were running into, like Ethereum, and yeah, we could kind of project out into the future of Cardano, that some similar trends that were happening in Ethereum would probably play out on Cardano once it had a more robust smart contract scripting language. So this was before Plutus was out. This was in the Daedalus days, so very early on. But yeah, definitely took some trust in the vision that Charles and the rest of the Cardano community had laid out at the time. But yeah, definitely very glad that we stuck through it, because I think today you're seeing kind of the fruits of uh, that leap of faith play out. So yeah,
Yeah.
today I think we're really happy about choosing Cardano. Very happy that we're in the governance kind of vertical within Cardano, just because if you look at all of the options that are out there, we really think that Cardano is leaning into governance the hardest of anybody, and that's what we believe is the true unlock of blockchain technology. So we're really excited about where we are now, but yeah, definitely took some faith in the early days.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been I guess we kind of started building at the peak of the last bull market. And we've been in the trenches building useful tools ever since on the governance side of things. And just to take a quick step back, is when we think of blockchain, what we think of it as is a governance technology, and it's a better store of record keeping. So it's a record keeping system that is better because it's transparent. It's accessible to anyone. It can create a global free market. So we're really happy to be have stuck with Cardano, and we can't wait to keep building on it. So that's a good segue into the next question. What specific role does Clarity play at the Constitutional Convention and contribute to discussions or workshops? So for the first part, our specific role was to develop the voting tool that delegates would use in order to cast votes on whether to ratify the Constitution or not. So here is actually a look at the tool. You can go visit it at poll.cardanoconvention.com, and you can see the poll that all the delegates voted in to actually approve it. And you can see all the Constitution text that was approved. You can see the hash that's linked to the document which was approved, and you can see all the on-chain records of all the vote transactions as well. So that was our main role, was to make sure that we build a reliable tool for the delegates to use to cast their vote on whether to ratify this Constitution. And I want to give huge kudos to Justin and also Matt for creating a tool that worked first time. Everyone had an easy time using it, connecting their wallet, casting their vote, the votes being easy to post on chain as well. So kudos there. Justin, is there anything else you want to say about this before I hop into kind of the next part of that question?
No, I think something I would like to touch on with that, maybe some clarity lore. This is kind of cool because it's the first project using the Clarity SDK. So as people in the community know, we will be rolling out the SDK early next year to third-party projects that would like to build leveraging the Clarity tooling in their own platforms. So this is just an example of that, how you can use the governance technology, the governance endpoints that we've created for the Cardano ecosystem to spin up your own, bespoke app for a particular use case. So in this particular case, we had obviously some requirements that were outside of the scope of the Clarity app itself. But I think that just goes to show how this SDK will kind of open up the doors to different uses of Cardano blockchain governance technology across different applications. So very excited to see kind of what the community now does with that SDK as that rolls out next year.
Yeah, super excited about that. I think that's a huge business and technical development milestone for Clarity at this point. Is we've worked, the last 3 years to build out these governance, community, and engagement infrastructure for projects that use Cardano as their root of trust. And now we want to open it up so that anyone can tap APIs and build on top and into their own interfaces. So that'll be a huge unlock. Now, the next that is a Catalyst proposal, by the way. So if you do cast votes, feel free to vote for it. It's going to need the community to come through with recent happenings. But the second part of this question is, how does Clarity contribute to the discussions or the workshops? So one thing we did was we helped co-host a constitutional workshop in Austin, Texas. We had the whole Solidity crew there. Shout out to you guys. A bunch of other people were there as well, and we unpacked a bunch of different topics and gave our feedback that would continue on to be implemented into the draft of the Constitution that was edited a lot leading up to the the Constitutional Convention. And me, I actually got voted in as an alternate for the Cardano Constitutional Workshop in Austin, Texas. So I was able to communicate as much as I could as an alternate to my delegate about, hey, this is what I think needs to change. These are my ideas of how this could be worded. So we got to be involved in that as well. I'm going to play a little video here, which helps to highlight another part. Well, not another part, but another thing that just helps exemplify our role in the Constitutional Convention. Here it is.
Let's remind ourselves of the official results of that vote, which have now been recorded on-chain through the Clarity voting app. So for yes, 60 votes. For no, 3 votes, and no abstentions. So with a threshold of 51% and 95% of delegates in favour, the Constitution has been approved to go forward. Thank you to each and every one of you for your contribution and commitment to this process. So now it's time for the signing.
So that was a really cool experience to be able to build the tool where all of these delegates from all over the world, 6 different continents, like 50 different countries, I believe, came together to debate and ratify this Constitution that will now move to hopefully get on-chain ratification from the other branches of government, which are the SPOs and the DREPs. And that leads us to the next question that we'll dive into, which is, can you explain how the Cardano governance system works? Yes, and I'm going to attempt to do that succinctly and easily real quick here. And I will do it by paralleling and explaining the differences between the American, the United States government and its 3 branches and separation of powers with how the Cardano governance system works too. So first you have the legislative branch, and in Cardano's governance system, these are the DREPs. So in the American system, every 2, 4, there's different term limits for Congress people, and the people vote in their representatives, which represent them for that term limit. Now, Cardano also has a legislative branch, but it's a little different because it's a liquid democracy. So you have anyone can become a DREP, they can vote for themselves, they can delegate their vote to other DREPs. But I would say one of the main difference and key advantages of the Cardano legislative branch is that if you don't like your representative, if they're making some votes you don't like, if they're making some decisions you don't like, if they're talking in a way that you don't like, you can immediately pull your delegation and give it to someone else or keep it for yourself. So that's what we mean by liquid democracy. You're not locked in to a certain person representing you. You can always, pull that and then give it to someone else. The next thing we have is the judicial branch. And in Cardano land, in the Cardano network state, whatever you want to call it, this is the Constitutional Committee. Now, the document that was drafted and ratified in Buenos Aires and Nairobi as well is going to be the document that is looked at and interpreted by the Constitutional Committee. And the only job of this branch of the government is to make sure that proposals that are submitted to the Cardano blockchain are constitutional. So the Cardano community will be electing Constitutional Committee members, and these committee members will have one job: to make sure proposals are constitutional. And then kind of as the executive branch, you have the SPOs. These are all of the different computers around the world that store the Cardano blockchain ledger and confirm transactions. And this is the group that is able to actually enforce the rules and make it so that this is a decentralized and sustainable system. So kind of those are the 3 balances of power in the Cardano governance system. And I think that's kind of a very high level overview of how it works. Justin, do you have any other thoughts on just explaining how the Cardano governance system works?
Yeah, like I think Logan gave a pretty good outline. But yeah, just important to call attention to how it's been obviously thought through very heavily over the past couple of years to get to this point. I think that a big emphasis was placed on having kind of checks of power, just like you see in governments like the United States across the world, that are super strong. So I think that yeah, it's been very well thought through up until this point. Ultimately, uh, it'll go to an on-chain vote now to be implemented, but we're yeah optimistic about the future of decentralized governance on Cardano. You're muted.
On to the next question. Can you say a few words about what the Clarity Ambassador program will encompass? And if there's time, sketch out a bit about how you envision it will work in more detail. Yeah, I'll hand that one off to you, and I'll add to it if you want, if there's something I need to add.
Yeah, so basically a kind of pattern that we've recognized is that people are interested in adopting kind of this community um, management tooling that Clarity offers. And we have some internal kind of power users who are very familiar with the Clarity platform, who uh, basically we're trying to create a marketplace between projects who are looking for a power user and these power users themselves, and kind of match them up so that these power users from the Clarity ecosystem can join these projects and kind of help them to run their community management and their governance stack on Clarity. So this is kind of a current day solution for what we hope is becoming more and more automated in the future, with more and more third party integrations and things like this that could do things like automatically approving quests and things like that. So in the meantime, since there is a potential for some manual work when you're setting these things up, yeah, basically, like I said, we're creating this marketplace so anybody in the Clarity ecosystem would be able to basically opt in to being included in this ambassador program. And that would put you into this marketplace where any project who's interested in adding a full or part-time contributor to help run the governance side of things would be able to browse the Clarity ambassadors, see some merit-based information about you, like how much you've contributed to the Clarity platform, things like this, maybe other projects where you're serving as an ambassador for. So kind of see your reputation and choose from the list of potential ambassadors and kind of help facilitate making those connections. So that is where we're headed. And yeah, I think that it definitely solves a problem that a lot of the projects have. And then we also obviously have a lot of people in the ecosystem who are eager to, contribute to not only Clarity, but projects outside of Clarity, and kind of contribute to the decentralized workforce that I think is what makes DAO so strong. So I think it's a step in the right direction for kind of the gig economy marketplaces that we anticipate DAOs becoming one day.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of people and businesses who they see a DAO as a tool to operate and govern and incentivize their communities, but they may not have the know-how of how to build a raid that engages the community, or how to facilitate governance actions that get engagement and are actually useful for the project or protocol. And we've been doing a ton of experimenting with that in the Clarity DAO, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know and have been a part of. So yeah, we're working on creating kind of a reputation system. I know that we're working on kind of releasing badges for people who have won raids and have participated in different things. And then there'll be a marketplace where, if a project needs someone to come in and help them get their decentralized operations off the ground, we'll have an army of Claritans that can come step in and make money while they do it. So that's kind of where we imagine that going. On our end, we're going to keep driving demand. We're going to keep finding projects that want to adopt decentralized operations in some capacity, and then hopefully the rest will be history, and we'll have a decentralized workforce that helps keep driving adoption of decentralized governance. Next question. How do you plan to measure the success and impact of your proposals once it's implemented? What metrics or indicators will you use? So this is a great question. I think it's a little case dependent on which proposal you're talking about. In general, we want to increase transactions on the Cardano blockchain. We want to increase liquidity in the Cardano blockchain that's available to be invested into projects. So I guess I'll briefly talk about, consider our plug and play proposal. So plug and play is a venture capital firm in Silicon Valley. With the proposal we have with them, success for this one would be that they start their investment arm and they invest in a handful of Cardano projects, and those Cardano projects grow and onboard new users. If we're talking about the SDK, the Clarity Dev Toolkit, maybe I should say, it's all about how many projects are leveraging the toolkit, how many users are within those projects, what is the TVL of those projects that are leveraging the toolkit. So there's really key metrics. I would say, one big thing, and we released this yesterday, is we want to keep improving these numbers. So we want to keep improving our TVL. We want to keep getting more and more organizations on the platform. We want to keep improving the unique voters and the unique proposal creators as well. So I think that, those are our key metrics, and those are what we look to improve with all of our proposals. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's about building tools that onboard new people and create more transactions on the Cardano blockchain and get more people interacting in the Cardano ecosystem on a daily basis. Anything to add to that, Shrine?
If you're interested in checking out the metrics as they chug along every day, every month, you can explore the metrics page that we have on the Clarity web app.
Yep. So if you go to clarity.vote, there's a DAO metrics page where you can always check out those metrics. I know we take a look at them every day, see how we're doing. But yeah, definitely. Next question. How does the Catalyst proposal process work, and how are proposals evaluated and selected for funding? I'll toss that over to you.
Yeah, so really Project Catalyst is kind of Cardano's first huge DAO. So basically anybody with ADA is able to participate in voting in Catalyst funding rounds. So basically there's a period where any project can put in their proposals, put them up to the Cardano ecosystem as a whole. Anybody with anybody with Cardano then is able to evaluate those proposals and vote using the ADA that they hold. And then it's a token weighted vote where basically there's a certain amount of funding allocated to different challenges. And then basically just the proposals are ranked in the order of votes that they got. So say there's $1 million up for grabs in a challenge. If the first ranking proposal uses up $250,000, then goes on to the second project with $750,000 available for funding. If their request amount is less than that, they get the funding, and that continues all the way down the line until the funding is used up. So it's a way for everybody in the Cardano ecosystem to have their voice heard, and definitely opens the door for some big players to have a large influence. But I think it's all part of the experiment that we're running with Catalyst. But that is the state of affairs as they stand today. Yep.
So essentially, a fund opens up for Project Catalyst. Anyone can submit an idea. This idea gets vetted by the community members and rated by the community members, and then it goes to voting, where anyone with ADA that registered for voting can influence what gets funded. And so yeah, that's how Project Catalyst works. I really like this question because I think decentralized identities and DAOs and governance will honestly change the world. We just got to make it happen. And the question is, how do you envision your decentralized identity work shaping the future of personal autonomy and governance, both within Project Catalyst and broader societal systems? For me, I see DID's decentralized identity as a cornerstone of, compliant blockchain-enabled organizations. I also think, it's quite cool how you can, have a user where they don't have to tell their identity, but you can be able to know that, hey, this person is, from this jurisdiction, or this person is an accredited investor, and you can kind of have dynamic decentralized identities that maybe they serve as, access to governance over a certain treasury, or they serve as access to a certain page of specialized content or anything like that. But in general, I believe that decentralized identities are one of the biggest things that blockchain can bring to the world to improve society, because then you no longer need to have these legacy systems where identities are released by states, and not you can build a decentralized reputation as well. Justin, I'm sure you have a ton of thoughts about DIDs and DAOs and all that stuff. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so just at a high level, I'll kind of answer this from the perspective of a nation state adopting blockchain governance systems, because I think that's ultimately kind of the end game that we're playing for. So really, I think that if you look at blockchain systems compared to these legacy systems that exist today, what's amazing about blockchain is that you're able to verify yourself instead of trusting somebody else that your vote was counted, which I think has the potential to completely revolutionize how democracy works all over the world, and truly can, unlock true democracy if we adopt it. There's a couple things that I think are kind of standing in the way of full nation state adoption of blockchain governance systems as it stands right now. So one of those would be kind of a privacy layer, which I think Midnight is obviously looking to tackle. But basically, having the ability to have votes recorded on a blockchain where you can verify it yourself, but it's not necessarily public to everybody. I don't necessarily want everybody in my neighborhood knowing who I vote for in a presidential election. You can imagine how that could cause some problems. So I think that the privacy layer is big for the nation state adoption of blockchain governance systems. And then the other big kind of blocker in the current moment is this adoption of digital identities or decentralized identities. So I think that obviously anybody can create as many wallets as they want on Cardano currently. So you have to have a way to tie that to reality. You have to have a way to tie that to an actual person to know that one person isn't just creating a million wallets and submitting a million votes in a election. You can see how that can cause a ton of problems. So I think that once we're able to verify that this is a valid digital identity, this represents one person in this jurisdiction or in this company or whatever it is, that really bolsters the legitimacy of these elections, and really makes us know that, okay, the only way to cast a vote was to be a verified person who is a part of this group that is hosting some sort of election. So I think those are the two kind of big things that are outstanding that we have to work towards as a blockchain ecosystem. But the ball is further up the field than it's ever been, as far as getting this across the line and having nation states eventually adopt this, which I think definitely is what kind of fuels us at Clarity, and that's where our vision is over the next 5 years. So that's where we're headed, and extremely optimistic about the direction that everything's headed.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, just building the tool for the Constitutional Convention and having everyone easily just create an on-chain vote from their phone. And then I think about how I voted for the president in this last election, where I had to stand in line and go to this machine who I don't even know what company, is counting those votes or whatever it may be. I think there's a ton of room for innovation and just like the legacy election systems. Outside of election systems, I do think it goes along with decentralized identity, but just verified credentials in general. So whether you need a doctorate degree in science to join a decentralized science DAO, or you need a verification that you're an accredited investor to join a DAO that invests in Cardano projects. All these different types of verified credentials, they can become very, very valuable once we really get this infrastructure in place. Next question. Looking at the 4 proposals in the general category, which are the top 2 in terms of relevance to Clarity's roadmap? So, Justin, these proposals are, as I'm sure you already know, the Dev Toolkit, the Clarity and Vesper partnership, the multisig platform with Mesh and Fluid, and the partnership with MLabs to build the Agora DREP effect validator. Which 2 do you think are the most relevant to our roadmap? You're muted.
I would say the first 2 that you laid out are probably most relevant to our roadmap as it currently stands. So the first one I think is definitely core to our roadmap. That's just getting the SDK out. So like I mentioned, this will allow third-party apps to build anything and everything that's in the Clarity platform and kind of extend that into their own governance applications, like you saw with the constitutional convention voting tool. So that'll be very exciting for us. I think that that'll also kind of invigorate the Clarity token economy and get some things rolling in that kind of aspect of the Clarity community. And then as far as the Vesper integration, I think that this is really a kind of high level meta play, but I think that it solves a big problem in the ecosystem. So really, I think that in general, we truly believe that blockchain governance systems are better than non-blockchain governance systems. Obviously, where things stand right now, using blockchain technology, connecting a wallet to a dApp isn't necessarily intuitive to an average web user. So really the cool thing about this Clarity Vesper integration is it kind of abstracts away the blockchain side of things to the user, where you can imagine basically just downloading a app from the App Store, just like you download Vesper. We wrap the current existing kind of wallet app that Vesper has and just allow it to go to a particular DAO's kind of homepage. And then basically the user just downloads this app, opens it up. In the background, they're signed in with a wallet, verified that they're a unique user, and then they're able to participate in governance and give their feedback. So I think that this kind of stuff is really important to getting adoption, not only inside of Cardano, but bringing people from outside of Cardano in, and yeah, meeting kind of legacy organizations where they are.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on the 2. I mean, the multi-sig is definitely an important proposal, and what this is an open source project we're going to contribute to regardless. And then the DREP one is definitely something that can unlock another set of ability for Cardano governance, which is cool. I think we've talked about the Dev Toolkit enough. I think this is a cornerstone of what we're doing, is opening up the technology we've built to be able to be implemented into any interface, and you can pick and choose which feature sets you want from the Clarity platform, whether you want to have just on-chain governance with your on-chain treasury, or you want to have off-chain temperature checks with forums and all that, or you want to just have like community leaderboards and incentive systems. You can kind of pick and choose and put in your own interface. So with this Clarity Vesper integration, just to piggyback off what Justin was saying, It's like my goal as an entrepreneur is to bring people from outside of blockchain into blockchain. And one of the most efficient ways to do that is B2B deals. Okay. So I'm a soccer guy. So say I talk to a soccer club and they're like, yeah, we would love to start a DAO, but we would want to have, a very easy way to onboard people. We don't want them to have to go to, another random website and connect their wallet. We just want to have an app for our team fans. So this would unlock that. So really, this is the proof of concept so that we can start to bring B2B contracts into Cardano with this DAO infrastructure, whether it's a nonprofit or it's a sports team or it's, a ton of different use cases for DAO, a music label, a music artist, a large content creator. They can create their own app where in the back end, it's Web3, but on the front end, it's just a user that's a fan of some sort of community or organization or person that wants to have a direct line to that person, to that community, to the decision-making processes that are within that. So definitely excited about those two the most, I think. We'll see what happens with the voting. Now, more than ever, I will say we grind and we claw and we survive for the Cardano ecosystem throughout the last 3 years. Project Catalyst is one of the biggest sources of funding for us. So if you have not casted a vote yet, we'd be honored to get your vote. We work hard in the ecosystem and we want to see Cardano succeed. And to do that, we need more enterprises. We need more businesses. We need it easier to develop on Cardano. And really, that's what we do with our projects and our products. That's all the questions I had listed. Let me check the comments here. I see some comments, but I don't see any questions. Any closing thoughts, Shrine?
No, thank you for everybody for leaving your comments. Like I said at the beginning, yeah, we like answering them, and excited to knock some more of these out as we continue next year. But yeah, I think the future of governance is bright in Cardano. Excited to get past the big milestone of the Constitutional Convention and get back to the daily grind.
Absolutely. And I'll leave by saying we were very honored and privileged to build the tool that the delegates used to ratify the Constitution. I thought it was a pretty cool innovation of how we built it out and got all the votes on chain. So we're going to be here building governance infrastructure, and I'm going to play one more video of me actually getting to go on stage as an alternate while my delegates sign the Constitution. So let's take a look at that, and then we'll close this thing out. We're at about 40 minutes here.
Thank you.
So definitely a cool moment to be part of history. Me and Justin joke about how, there's a 1% chance that, we'll be mentioned in some history books. And, I think we're doing something great at Cardano, trying to build a decentralized on-chain governance system, which has never been done before. So like I said at the beginning of this video, my name is Justin. My name is Logan. You're also here with Justin. We are on a mission to implement decentralized governance into the fabric of society. We can't stop. We won't stop. If you have not voted in Catalyst, we would be honored to get your vote. Thank you guys very much, and we'll see you on the next live or video or space. See you guys later.